How you doing? It's Bill Stage, and we are going to be talking with Kyle Carter from the Downtown Davenport Partnership. How are you today, Kyle?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do these behind the businesses, and every time I ask who should we who should we have on the program, and of course you're familiar with Max Tavern.
Oh yeah.
They said, absolutely, we need to get Kyle on to talk about what you guys have going on over there. So it's a little bit different. Behind the Business usually dives into entrepreneurs and whatnot, but this is a different collective. Tell us a little bit about what you do down there at the Downtown Davenport Partnership.
Yeah. So we're a division of the chamber, and I've been there about 15 years now. And our main role is that we do leadership and advocacy for downtown economic development, festivals, flower baskets, marketing. I mean, you name it. If it has something to do with downtown, we generally have some thumbprint on it. And my main role is kind of that business retention, recruitment, and development into things with planning.
Mhm. Gotcha. Well, what was it that I don't know, when you got into this line of work, where was your head at? Would you just like helping people? Do you
Answering
like
the phones.
entrepreneurs? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean, I used to work at the Quad City Times very briefly, right out of college, and then I answered just a random thing that I found. I had submitted an application a year prior on paper, and they had kept it in a folder and called me back a year later for an administrative and marketing role
Mhm.
there. And so the rest is kind of history, I suppose.
Gotcha. And what is it about marketing that you like?
Yeah, I got out of school really passionate about where downtown was going, and I
Mhm.
was really interested in trying to get my hands into it somehow. The door kind of opened in this particular case in a way I would have never seen coming. But that's when the River Music Experience had just been built. So I graduated in '04 from
Mhm.
college. So like RME was brand new, the Figge was opening very shortly thereafter, Bucktown, all these arts organizations were just launching, and it really got my attention. And so that was this role at the chamber and downtown partnership in particular was just my way of finally being able to contribute to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely had a bit of an upswing right about those times.
Yeah.
What do you think, the next 10 years are going to look like? I know we've had some issues with, especially last year with some of the downtown areas and the flooding and whatnot. What do you see the downtown area looking like in the next 10 years?
I think it'll change dramatically, just like it did the last 10 years. You look at really '05, and that time frame is more like 15 at this point.
Yeah.
But there's been so much change for the better in that window of time. One of the things I always like to remind people about the flooding is one of the reasons everyone was so upset last year is we actually had something to lose. If you push back into the '90s and '80s, there was not much there to have lost during a flood. Of course, there've always been people down there, but from a macroeconomic point of view, the value of what we developed in the last 15 years is enormous, and so we're very fortunate to see that. So the next 10 years, I think, will largely be defined by this COVID craziness that we're dealing with right now, and how each community responds to that. And so we need to be prepared to hit the ground running and not be flat-footed when the world does return to whatever the new normal looks like.
Yeah. So in your tenure there, downtown Davenport, is there any particular successes that you're proud of that stand out to you, Kyle?
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, and first of all, this is like the work of hundreds of different people, and so it flows through me and through our organization. So we've touched on a lot of these things, but the individuals that built them themselves always deserve the most credit. And so some of those things that seeing the Restoration St. Louis projects really come to life, and
Mhm.
so like Hotel Blackhawk, the City Square, that's those two projects alone are about 110 million. Then you add the Forrest Block into that, the Renwick building, Day Trotter, and its growth over the years. And it may be gone now, but it had a hell of a run.
Yeah.
And all of those things were things that people said we couldn't do, and we did.
Hmm.
And for the most part, have been really successful. those stick out to me. And personally, it sounds weird, but the welcome sign is still one of my favorite things we've ever done
Yeah.
off the Arsenal Bridge.
Well, yeah, it kind of ties down what downtown Davenport is. It of course has all the different kind of landmarks, but it's downtown Davenport is really kind of very art centric.
It has been. And, we've always been believers that live music in particular drives a lot of this community's development and has since, you go back to the jazz age. I mean, there's always been a thread of live music driving who we are and how we function here. So I think that that's still true. We're going through more of a rough patch right now with the last couple of years of being so difficult for the region.
Hmm.
But those, you see it every day in the Facebook group that's been created, helping all these local musicians and really putting a spotlight on just how many people really do make a go of it around here in that world.
Yeah, that's for sure. What about live music down in the downtown Davenport? Do you have a favorite festival, one that you're maybe going to miss the most over the
Yeah,
summer?
well,
Or
our organization produced River Roots live for years, and then that transitioned into alternating currents. And so I'm really excited about AC. And usually we get kind of flack for how late that festival is. It's
Mhm.
August, last weekend in August, almost September. For a summer festival, that's considered like the last one,
Right,
basically. And with COVID, it's turned out to have a hell of a good time frame.
right,
It may be one of the only festivals that do actually happen. So
yeah.
we're happy to find ourselves in that position, and we got anything can happen between now and then, but we're going to be prepared to do it. That's for sure.
Yeah. And talking specifically about alternating currents, that's something like you mentioned came from River Roots. Um, it, it seems like it's something that transitions and kind of evolves with time. What kind of thing would you like to see AC kind of turn into? Right now,
We'd love to
it's
see
a
it.
little bit of everything.
Right, it is, and I want to keep it that way. I mean, I think the weirder the better, and there's nothing wrong with having smaller acts that are touring, nationally touring acts and local acts
Hmm.
that that you may not have heard of that are awesome. And River Roots did that for years, and people ate it up because once you hear great music, it's great whether you heard it before or not.
Yeah.
As far as where it goes from here, we'd love to see it be a truly regional festival
Hmm.
where all the cities are in on it in some way. Or if the epicenter remains downtown Davenport, I think we can have a lot of satellite action in all of the communities, and getting the budget to a point where we can do that would
Hmm.
be pretty rad. That's a goal.
Yeah, that would be great to get all the Quad Cities involved and have just a one giant party and for everybody.
Well, I mean, the whole event was blatantly borrowed from the idea of Austin
Hmm.
of South by.
Yeah.
We made no secret of that.
Yeah.
To really achieve that, though, we need a more regional footprint to the event,
Hmm.
and we'll get there. You can't force something like that. It has to organically get there. But we're going to try and do more of that this year, and you're going to
Hmm.
see other communities more involved than they had in the past, and we'll slowly build our way into it. We learned a lot of lessons from River Roots about what not to do over
Hmm.
time, and how to grow something that is sustainable.
Yeah.
And I think that it is at this point. We're going to try and keep it that way.
Yeah, and being able to listen to the people of Davenport of the Quad Cities, to know what they want and cater to their needs, but also keep it's got a personality of its own.
It does, and it really does show off what is cool about our community. It really is a very organic thing. I think the marketing campaign that kicked it off, that my old colleague Lauren was the brainchild of, really showcased all the talent we do have here, in addition to the talent we want to bring here. And the whole idea is to just make sure once a year we can celebrate that culture, and then hopefully put out a big sign to the outside world that maybe you should be looking here too.
Yeah. So I know it's hard to say right now with something coming, you never know what's going on with this COVID-19 stuff, but as of right now, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to in 2020?
Seeing people again, being
Yeah.
in crowds, going to Max and
Yeah.
seeing Gary and Sasha in person. That
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
great. Um, You know, my office is literally across the street. So like I look out my window and it's the Max sign. And so
Right.
it's so nice to go over there after work and say hi to the gang. And I really miss the camaraderie of that and just seeing people downtown. And we get out as much as we can and you do the like wave from the car and
Yeah.
which is nice, but it's
Yeah.
just not the same.
Is there anything that, gosh, with you're kind of you're a creative guy. Can't we figure out some sort of drive-in type scenario with some live music?
Well, we may have to. I don't know if you saw River Music Experience has been sending a trio of musicians around to people's houses and playing in their driveways.
That's great.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. Brett's been working on that, and then I don't know. The longer this goes, the weirder we're gonna have to get. Maureen and I actually had a show booked at the Renwick Mansion with a band that we're a big fan of that was supposed to happen in May that we had to cancel. There's just so much stuff that I know Mueller wants to do, that Kate wants to do at RME, that there's all these other promoters in town that do small, cool shows, some of the punk stuff. The Lopez brothers are the ones who brought Radkey here. Who, by the way, are opening for the Foo Fighters.
There you go. Something to be said for that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of examples of that. And so it sucks that we're just like on ice right now and there's just nothing you can do about it. So we're planning as best we can.
So I know it's going to be a hard question to answer. You deal with so many businesses down there in downtown Davenport, but is there anyone in particular that that you think deserves a little more attention, a little extra love these days?
I mean, frankly, everybody needs help right now, and you guys have done a really good job of highlighting a lot of the small businesses. Without singling any one out, I would just say that what any of them that you support right now really appreciate it and need it. Some folks can't, like Analog, I'm affiliated with. It's not open at all, and there's nothing we can do about it. So gift cards and T-shirts. There's a really cool T-shirt that was made for us, and there's a company doing fundraisers for all kinds of small businesses. So I don't know. There's not one better than the next. If you got one that you do love, that's your personal favorite, go throw them money.
There you go. I like that. All right, Kyle. Is there anything else we missed? Anything you want to get out there to the Quad Cities?
Well, I mean, I could talk for however long you want on any number of topics. That we haven't even touched on, like some of the federal assistance that's out there. There's
that's a good idea. Let's
promotional
do that.
the bingo thing.
Yeah, let's kind of get some good information out there for people to go check out. What do you got for me?
Yeah, so it's first of all, it's ever changing, but the chamber and the downtown page, we've been really good about putting out any new programs that the feds of the state are putting out, like paycheck program information, which I know ran out of money, but they're going to refill that bucket here very soon, I think. Right. There's 2 or 3 other different kind of disaster loans. So I would just say that if you are downtown and you don't know the answers to the questions, call. Yeah. We have folks at the chamber, including myself, that can help answer a lot of those. And there are programs out there that folks still don't quite understand that we can help with.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think you're going to be pretty busy even with the shutdown, I would imagine.
Yeah, we have been. I mean, my days fly by. Really, it's constantly phone calls and people that need help. And, the flood did prepare us for emergency management. We learned a lot last year about communication and how to do that. And I will say that the flood of 19 made us a lot more prepared for this, even internally at the office. This is getting into the weeds, but like we converted to Office 365 and using cloud-based systems that allowed us to continue to do like this type of stuff with Zoom and without missing a beat. And a lot of people weren't prepared for that. The flood is the reason we were. So it's strange, but we're pretty good at this whole crisis management thing right now.
Yeah. The mother of invention for sure. That necessity thing.
Yeah. It's been a rough couple years. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. After last year and this year, it's been like just brutal from a business point of view. But such is life, man. And the attitude of the Quad Cities and the people who have been willing to support musicians, business, it just means the world to us. And I don't know. I commend you guys for this program, and and what you're doing is really making a difference, and I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you saying that, Kyle. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, take care. Call anytime.
All right.